Hi everyone, in today's video I have a lot of updates to share with you. I have updates on the K-1 Fiancé visa, on the F4 preference category, on the immigration lawsuit that was filed against the Trump administration to stop enforcement of the executive orders. I have updates for you on EAD cards and the application for employment authorization. And I also have an update for you on the diversity visa lottery and winners of the diversity visa lottery in particular. So make sure to stick around. Hi everyone, so if this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop with all the immigration videos that we're posting. Also, make sure to hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows to share this video with a wider audience. So let's get started. As I mentioned, in this video, I have a lot of updates to go over. I have updates regarding the K-1 Fiancé visa. I have updates on EAD cards and applications for employment authorization. I have an update for you on the lawsuit that was filed against the Trump administration to stop enforcement of those executive orders that were filed back in April and June. And I also have an update for you on the F4 preference category, which I've been getting a lot of questions about. And I have an update for you on the diversity visa and winners of the diversity visa lottery. So let's get started. First and foremost, the update that I have about the K-1 Fiancé visa. The Department of State has released an announcement that they will be making the K-1 Fiancé visa a high priority. Now I'm going to share my screen with you right now to show you the exact announcement that the Department of State made. Okay everyone, so if you look at the Department of State website, this was posted on August 31st, 2020, and it says here, important notice for K-visa applicants affected by COVID-19. Effective August 28th, as it becomes safe to resume more consular operations at each U.S. mission, posts are authorized to give K-visa cases high priority. Applicants should check the website of their nearest U.S. embassy or consulate for updates on what services that post is currently able to offer. The I-129F petition for alien fiancé is typically valid for 4 months. However, consular officers may revalidate the I-129F petition in 4-month increments. For most cases impacted by the suspension of routine visa services or COVID-19 travel restrictions, it will not be necessary to file a new I-129F petition. So we get two very important pieces of information from that announcement. The first piece of information that we get is that the K-1 visa is going to get high priority. This means that once consulates and embassies start to resume their services, the K-1 visa could be getting high priority compared to other visa types. The second important piece of information that we get is that many people will not have to refile their Form I-129F. Basically, the way the K-1 Fiancé visa works is that the US citizen first has to file a Form I-129F with USCIS. Once that petition is approved, it's typically valid for 4 months. Well, many people were in a situation where their I-129F was approved and they were unable to go in for their visa appointment because visa appointments were not available due to COVID-19. So what this announcement says is that consular officers are in a position to revalidate the I-129F even if it expired, so that people do not have to refile their I-129F. So across the board, this is really good news for applicants of the K-1 Fiancé visa. Now the next update that I want to provide to you is regarding EAD cards, employment authorization documents. Specifically, I want to talk about the Form I-765, which is the application for employment authorization. Well, as many of you know, as of August 25th, USCIS officially changed the Form I-765. And from August 25th going forward, people must file using the new application. So I've already talked about this, but many people have asked me what specific changes there are on the Form I-765. Well, I'm just going to go through a few right now and I'm going to share my monitor with you. So take a look. Okay, everybody. So I have the Form I-765 pulled up in front of me. Again, this is the new edition that people have to use if they've filed their form as of August 25th. Now, pay attention over here to question 30B. I'll highlight it for you. Okay, it says here, did you enter the United States lawfully through a U.S. port of entry? And were you inspected and admitted or paroled after inspection by an immigration officer? If you answer yes, you must provide evidence of your lawful entry. Now, also, let's look at question 30C. And it says here, if you answered no to item number 30B, did you present yourself to the Secretary of Homeland Security or his or her delegate, DHS, within 48 hours of entry or attempted entry, and express an intention to seek asylum within the United States or express a fear of persecution or torture in your home country? And you can answer yes or no there. And let's scroll down to this part 2 over here, continued. And it says here, if you answered yes to item number 30C, provide the following information. Date you presented yourself to DHS, location where you presented yourself to DHS, country of claimed persecution, and 30G over here says, provide an explanation for why you did not enter the United States lawfully through a U.S. port of entry. So everybody, the way that you fill out the form I-765, and particularly how you answer those questions, is very important to whether your case could get approved or denied. So it's very important on this form in particular, if possible, to work with an experienced immigration lawyer. Now, let's talk about the lawsuit that was filed to stop enforcement of the executive orders that were filed back in April and June. As many of you know, back in April and June, there were executive orders signed by President Trump which limit certain immigration. Particularly, the April executive order suspends the issuance of certain immigrant visas, and the June executive order suspends the issuance of certain non-immigrant visas. Well, as many of you know, a lawsuit was filed to stop enforcement of those executive orders, and on August 27th, there was a hearing where the plaintiffs had filed a motion requesting a preliminary injunction and a temporary restraining order on enforcement of those executive orders. Basically, what that means is that the plaintiffs were seeking to temporarily stop enforcement of those executive orders because of the harm that they were causing to those that were affected. Now, on Friday, Judge Mehta released his decision on the plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction. Without going too much into the legal specifics, basically what Judge Mehta's decision does is that he approves the plaintiff's request as it pertains to DV lottery winners. For other people impacted by the executive orders, Judge Mehta's decision does not approve their request for a preliminary injunction. So this brings me to my update on the F4 preference category and on the DV lottery. Regarding the F4 preference category, based on Judge Mehta's decision, the F4 preference category is still impacted by President Trump's executive orders. So F4 preference category applicants are still subject to President Trump's executive order. I've been getting a lot of questions from people, particularly about the F4 preference category, so I hope that this helps to clarify some of those questions. Now let's talk about winners of the diversity visa lottery. Winners of the DV lottery have a lot to be happy about. As we mentioned, based on Judge Mehta's ruling on the motion for the preliminary injunction, DV lottery winners should be able to apply for their immigrant visa despite the executive order that temporarily suspends the issuance of immigrant visas. So again, for DV lottery winners, they have a lot to be happy about. Another piece of news that I want to update you on is that the DV lottery winners were officially announced, and I have some important statistics to share with you as well. So take a look at my screen. Okay, so over here, I basically have provided some statistics on the diversity visa winners by country. So take a look. So Egypt has 6,002 winners of the diversity visa lottery. Iran has 6,001 winners. Russia also has 6,001 winners. And Algeria also has 6,001 winners. Sudan also has 6,001 winners. Ukraine has 5,604 winners. Uzbekistan has 5,319 winners. The Congo has 4,503 winners. Morocco has 4,458 winners. Albania has 3,962 winners. Ethiopia has 3,957 winners. Nepal has 3,801 winners. Cameroon has 3,686 winners. Ghana has 3,284 winners. Turkey has 2,874 winners. So you should now have a better understanding of the citizens of which countries were the biggest winners in the diversity visa lottery. So in this video, we covered a lot of updates. We updated you on the K1 visa, and we talked about how the K1 visa will now be considered a high priority as consulates and embassies resume routine visa services. We talked about the changes to the I-765, the application for employment authorization. We talked about the updates to the lawsuit that was filed to stop enforcement of the executive orders that were filed back in April and June. And we also provided an update on the F4 preference category, which is still impacted by the executive order. And we talked about the diversity visa, and we talked about how winners of the diversity visa have a lot to be happy about based on Judge Mehta's ruling. And we also went over some of the winners and the statistics about the winners of the diversity visa lottery. I know this was a ton of information. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you guys found this video very helpful. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, make sure to share this video with them. We're all about empowering you with knowledge. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us by letting YouTube know to share this video with more people. If you haven't yet done so, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.